And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Albon potentially going to Red Bull. At least there's been some suggestion that he has been offered a contract when he leaves Williams. Also, Carlos Sainz on leaving the Ferrari team and how he feels about the whole thing. And last but not least, a Christian Horner update. So let's get into it with our first news story, Albon to Red Bull. This is from motorsport.com. The Red Bull F1 team apparently has a first option to move on Albon. As you can see here, he's currently at Williams. Red Bull has offered Williams driver Alex Albon a first option on his Formula One future. There's our smiling friend. So he's been the subject of intense speculation ever since Lewis Hamilton signed that deal with Ferrari for 2025, and there's reports linking him to Red Bull as Sergio Perez's replacement, as well as obviously this vacant Mercedes seat, this big hole that's going to be left by Hamilton come the end of the 2024 season. So speculative reports that Red Bull have offered Albon a multi-year contract from 2025 are believed to be inaccurate. Peter Winter had come out and said he's 90% sure that they've offered him I think a 3-year deal, he said. Bearing in mind it was 90%. So motorsport.com, they've learned that Albon's former team is looking to secure a first option on the team's 27-year-old services. So if Alex agrees, it means Red Bull are going to have that first choice to bring him back to the fold for 3 years, starting in 2026 after his current Williams deal runs out. It's going to be a lucrative option for the Anglo-Thai and a step closer to a return to a top team. If you remember last time, he fared, you could actually make an argument now, given the evidence we've got, he fared just as well, if not maybe even slightly better than Sergio Perez. So also, it's silly season time, and that's going to tie Alex Albon into guaranteeing a drive for Red Bull, therefore maybe missing out on that Mercedes drives or any other drives out come, obviously, the end of 2025 when he's apparently contracted to. So when asked if there had been conversations about his future at the Williams launch, Albon said, "I'd be denying if it said that there haven't been questions and general chats surrounding and around that, but truthfully it's not really personally my area. That's more my management. My focus is on driving." He went on to say that where I stand is I'm very excited to see how the FW46 develops. I want to see how the car feels in Bahrain and the subsequent 4, 5, 6 races and really get a feel for the progression that I hope we've made as a team. He went on to say, my whole focus is on Williams and that's where I see myself. The rate of progression to me is also very important. So time will tell. He added, I feel like I'm very close to my peak. There are always improvements to be done and there are still areas to improve. But generally, with my experience now and where I feel I am deserving of a car that can score podiums and fight for wins. And that's just being totally honest with how I see myself. More than anything, I want that team to be Williams, and that's where I put all my work and all my efforts in. It's very clear to me, especially when you see the driver market. There's a huge interest in teams wanting the same driver for 25 and 26. That's how it looks like it's playing out. And let's see about that. Albon's last remark suggests a lot of teams are looking for constant driver lineups between 25, the end of the current regulations, and 2026, the beginning of these new regulations, when F1 shifts to that all-new chassis and that new power unit. Now, Williams team principal James Vowles confirmed that Albon is still contracted to the team for 2025. But when asked if he would stand in his way if a suitable offer, for example, came in for next year, he replied, should any decision go that way, it's because I'm very clear in my mind that I've made decisions that are correct for the team's long-term goals and not the short-term. When pressed on whether the 25 deal preludes any possibilities of looking elsewhere, Albon said, let's see, time will tell, but my focus is on 2024. Let's keep it like that. So keeping his cards very, very close to his chest. So Sainz on leaving Ferrari. Yeah, this is from Sky Sports. Carlos Sainz says being replaced by Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari is not a normal feeling. It can't be a good thing for him, can it? Going into the 24 season, knowing that is his last with Ferrari. The last time that happened, I think, was McLaren, wasn't it? In 2020. But that was kind of Sainz's choice to go from McLaren to Ferrari, and this is kind of like Ferrari essentially sacking him come the end of the year. And as we know, he's going to leave Ferrari at the end of 2024, being replaced by Lewis Hamilton. So he's admitted Ferrari's decisions to replace him with Hamilton has left him not with the most normal feeling. Now, a renewal of Sainz deal, which expires at the end of 24, had appeared to be just a formality going into the end of last season until that massive announcement from Lewis Hamilton. The announcement came just a month before the start of the new season, which is going to be taking place on March the 2nd, as in lights out. So it's certainly not the most normal feeling to start the season, as we've told you, I think the third time now, Sainz said. But he went on to say that, but the moment I put on the helmet in Bahrain and take to the track, the only sensation I'll feel will be the desire to go faster, and also aiming for victory in the World Championship. I mean, imagine if he did win the World Championship. Anyway, Sainz has impressed since joining Ferrari from McLaren in 2021, providing strong competition for teammate Charles Leclerc. I nearly said Carlos Leclerc. From teammate Charles Leclerc, as he aimed a first F1 race victory at Silverstone, and he was the only driver, as we know, Carlos Sainz was, in relation to winning, the only non-Red Bull driver to win a race at Singapore last year. He said, "I'm fine, don't worry, I'm not disappointed," Sainz added. "Experiencing Ferrari from the inside, I already knew several things, and I prepared myself with the team in view of future changes." As said, however, I don't want to think about anything other than giving my all in the season that awaits me with Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, so he said, "I'm calm. We know that we have an important decision ahead of us. This will be my last year in Ferrari, so I want to do the best I can." Now, the Spaniard is currently without a drive for next year. He's been linked strongly, kind of maybe with Mercedes, but more so with the stake F1 team, which are going to be Audi in a couple of years. And he said, "I'm aware of how much I am worth as a driver. For this reason, when I look to the future, I am very calm." So that's Carlos Sainz, very calm. He said he's not disappointed. He must be disappointed. It's nice to be wanted, and he kind of wasn't at Ferrari in respect of Hamilton. And a lot of people are saying that him and Leclerc really get on. And you can make an argument they're the best driver pairing. But I think what a lot of people do agree with, they are the most balanced driver pairing, I think. So, last but not least, Christian Horner. Yes, Horner investigation could last through the first Grand Prix. Now, I think Red Bull, rightly or wrongly, they're going to really want to sort this out before the launch. That might not happen. And it says here on gpfans.com, it may not even happen before that first race, which is going to just leave things hanging over them. It's going to have questions in the press conferences, even when they've been asked, maybe not, there's going to be no answers to that. Journalists are still going to ask. Now, F1 journalist Craig Slater from Sky, he's provided an update on the ongoing hearing. And Horner's initial hearing concluded on Friday before 7 o'clock. It started at, apparently about 10 in London, about 8, just after 10. So 8 hours long. So I digress. Horner's assertion of innocence and his desire to clear his name, the timeline of the investigation operates independently of F1 and its imminent season, which is good, I guess, in a way. My understanding, Craig Slater said, is this will operate to the timescale which the investigator sets and not to a Formula One scale. He went on to say, it means there's every likelihood it could still be ongoing, this process, even as Red Bull are launching their car next Thursday. That's the 15th of February. He went on, continued, it could even still be ongoing as we enter the Formula One pre-season testing on the 20th of this month. It may be carry on towards the first Grand Prix of the season on the 2nd of March. It's awkward for the team, but paramount in all of us is that there is fairness to the parties involved, and that's why they employed the independent investigator in the first place, he added. So, obviously, really important, but, and here's the big but, no one really knows too much about it. Quite rightly, Red Bull have kept very when you think about it, and that's absolutely right, aren't they? They want to do it. This investigation, albeit it's not internal, it's an independent one. So you have to wonder the seriousness of the allegations, or is it because Horner is such a senior figure they need to be seen to be doing right? Whatever, it's going to be a big deal one way or another. What happens? People have also suggested there's this big power struggle within Red Bull, but once again, there's no proof of that. Not to deny there is, because as we know, there were allegedly tensions between Marco and Horner last year, even though Marco has denied anything going. There's also tensions between the Verstappen camp and the Horner camp, allegedly again, but no one really knows. So the one bad thing when a team doesn't is not open, and why should they be, Red Bull, more open about this process, is that the media then starts trying to guess and make stories by themselves, which I appreciate must be really, really frustrating. So we just hope the truth comes out and it's dealt with fairly and robustly. And yeah, there we go. So if you made it to the end, fantastic. If you made it to the end and you like and subscribe and comment, you're going to be a multiple world champion in our eyes. If you just do the one, definitely still a world champion. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.